Good morning, 711 712. We're going to start chapter 6 today, which is about percent, which we'll discuss the meaning of in a second. Just as with chapter 5, chapter 6 is calculator active, so you're allowed to use a calculator as we go over this. What is percent? The Latin root word cent means 100, and I'm sure you've seen the word cent used before in different contexts, right? There's 100 cents in $1. There are 100 years in a century, right? So that word is used quite often in everyday life. So percent literally means one part in every 100, or by a specified amount in or for every 100. So we'll get to that, what that means in a second. This is a 10 by 10 grid, which means there are 100 squares in this grid. So that means we can discern a certain amount out of 100. Okay, so if 9 of these columns are filled up, that would mean that 90 out of 100 squares are red. So what would that mean in terms of percent? It would mean 90 out of 100, or 90%, right? 90 per 100. And as we'll get to in a second, percentages can easily be transformed into decimals when you consider the number in the hundredth place, right? So 90% would be 0.90 out of 100, because 9 is in the 10th place. 9 over 10 is equal to 90 over 100, or 90%. Here's another example. Okay, again, we have a 10 by 10 grid, right? And we have 4 columns filled up, and then 7 filled in the 5th column. So that would mean that 40 plus 7 are red. So 47 out of 100 squares are red. What does that mean? 47 out of 100, or 47%. And again, if you want to change percent into decimal, right, all you have to do is think of that in the hundredth place, this number in the hundredth place, or 0.47, right? You can see 7's in the hundredth place, 4's in the 10th place for 47, right? So 0.47 is equal to 47%, which is also equal to 47 out of 100. Another example here. Okay, again, a 10 by 10 grid, but this time only have 9 out of 100. Okay, so you think right now, what would 9 out of 100 be as a percent? 9%, right? And what would that be as a decimal point? So you have to think about this for a second. What would this be as a decimal point? Now, if we went back to here, 90 out of 100 squares are red, 90%, that's 0.9, right? So if you thought that 9% would be 0.9, okay, to think a little harder about that, right? Because 0.9 would be 90%. So to demonstrate your understanding of decimals and percent equivalence, 9%, 9 would have to be in the hundredths place. But then what number would be in the 10th place? 0, right? So 0.09 would be 9%. That's literally 9 out of 100, 9 hundredths. All right, so what I want you to do is pause right now and try to do this one on your own. Write the percent and write the decimal point, and I'll let you pause. Okay, so we're back, right? So this would be 84 out of 100 squares are blue, right? You have 8 columns filled up completely, and then 4 additional filled up with the color blue in the 9th column. That would make 84%. And again, we want to turn this into a decimal as well, which would be 0.84, right? 84 hundredths, 84 out of 100. Okay? So let's make some sense of percent. Here we have 3 percentages, okay? All of those can be converted into a decimal, okay? What I want you to do is hit pause, write these down on your own, and try to convert them into a decimal. Remember, it's always out of 100. It has to be in the hundredths place. Okay, so pause now and then get started. Alrighty, so 93%. Okay, remember, 3 would be in the hundredths place, 9 would be in the 10th place. This one's pretty straightforward. This would be 0.93. 4%, this is like the problem we just did. We had 9 out of 100 squares red. 4%, you might think, okay, is 0.4. 4%, we're good to go. But remember, 4 has to be in the hundredths place. It's 4 out of 100 for 4%. So that'd be 0.04. Now this one is even more tricky, right? We didn't have an entire grid filled up with additional squares filled up outside of it. Now, if you did, you'd have the number that was over 1 as a decimal, right? If you look at number 1, 93% is 0.93. Look at number 2, 4% is 0.04. When you have a percentage that is over 100, okay, your decimal point is going to be over 1, right? It's going to be a larger number than 1. So in this case, it would be 1.6 or 1.60, right? Remember that 0 is in the hundredths place, 6 would be in the tenths place, and then 1 would be in the ones place. So you'd actually have a decimal that is larger than 1. Okay? So here are some decimal values that I'd like you to write down. Okay? And I want you to take the time to turn those into percents. Okay? So you can pause now and get started. All right. So let's get to it, right? We have a decimal value of number 1 of 0.66. Okay, what would that be as a percent? 66%, right? We have 6 in the tenths place, 6 in the hundredths place, and that would be 66 out of 100. How do you write a number out of 100? Add the percentage sign, 66%. Next up, we have 0.01. Okay, what would that be as a percent? We have 1 in the hundredths place, 0 in the tenths place. That would be 1 out of 100, or 1%. 3, 0.5, or 1/2. Okay, I'm sure most of you know what 1/2 is as a percent. Okay, just thinking of it and using it in real world context, that would be 50%, right? 1/2, you get half, I get the other, we get 50% each, right? 50%. Number 4, we have 0.003. Notice there is no number in the tenths place, or 0 is in the tenths place, 0 is in the hundredths place, and 3 is in the thousandths place. So what would that be as a percent? Okay, well, guess what? You can have a decimal percentage like that, 0.3%, right? Because it's less than 1 out of 100. 1 out of 100 is 1%. This is 3 out of 1,000, right? So to be written as a percent, to be written as out of 100, the decimal point would move over twice, then you'd have 0.3%. Okay, we're going to move on to some word problems involving percent and decimals. These word problems just give you a percent or a decimal, and you have to convert it to either a percent or a decimal. First one, we have 54% of the students in your class have moved at least one time. Write this percent as a decimal, right? So 54% be written as follows, and then the decimal would be 0.54, right? 5 in the tenths place and 4 in the hundredths place, 54 out of 100. You spent 0.88 of your allowance this week. What percent of your allowance did you spend? Again, we have a decimal point here of 0.88. 8 is in the tenths place. 8 is in the hundredths place. So that would be 88%. Okay. So I'm going to put one up here that I'd like you to try on your own, right? You can probably just do this using mental math. So think about it for a second. All right, let's go over it. On a history test, you get 86 out of a possible 100 points. Write a decimal and a percent that represents a score of 86 out of 100. Remember, percent literally means out of 100. So if the number is out of 100, like 86, okay, your percentage would be 86%. And what would that be as a decimal point? 0.86. 8 in the tenths place, 6 in the 100th place. Okay, that's all we're doing for today, right? Just going over basic decimal and percent conversions. But here's how the next 2 days are going to roll out. Okay, today you're going to be completing your problem of the day. Now remember, going forward, the problem of the day is going to count as your attendance for the day. Okay, so we really want to encourage you to get on Google Classroom every single day to check your work. So doing the problem of the day that it is assigned to you, counts as your attendance for that day, for that period, or that subject area. So you have to complete the problem of the day every day it is given to you. You should have a quizzes attached to this assignment today in Google Classroom. So I would like you to complete that today as well. All right, so you listen to this video, you will complete the problem of the day, and then finish your quizzes. This is how the lessons are going to roll out going forward. Okay, I will record a lesson, I'll post it for you, you watch it, take notes if you need to, and then you complete the problem of the day, and usually a short assignment afterwards, like a quizzes. And the quizzes is assigned to you based on popular demand. A lot of you like the quizzes, so we'll get those out to you as much as possible. Now, tomorrow at 8 a.m., which is Tuesday, tomorrow at 8 a.m., Another problem of the day will be assigned to you. So you have to complete that the day it's due, remember, because that is your attendance for the day. But on top of that, the progression of learning for 6-1 will be posted as well. So each one of you will get the progression of learning sent to you, which has to be completed and turned in the next day. So that'll be due on Wednesday. Okay? But on top of that, since so many of you asked for a live session involving math, on top of what we're going to do is have a live question and answer session Tuesday, right, which would be tomorrow, Tuesday at 11 a.m. So I'm going to post this in the Google Classroom for 7-11 and 7-12. We're all doing the same math, so we could all join in together at 11 a.m. If you have questions, you just let me know. We can go over it together. Okay, please, if you have any questions, join us tomorrow on the Zoom session, because if you have questions, I'm sure your classmates do as well. So join me tomorrow live at 11 a.m. Even if you have questions about anything else going on, jump on. If you want to say hello, please do. Okay, jump on tomorrow, Tuesday at 11 a.m. The link will be posted at 10:55 a.m. in both 7-11 and 7-12. I hope you guys have a great day. Okay, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.